Yep, me again. It's going to be a couple more. I haven't quite done. I keep trying to bring up other things to finish my last sentence, which is a really important one. The thing that makes America great is the fact that we are a global economy, simply because everyone from every nation who speaks every kind of language lives here. That makes us the greatest nation in the world. Our tolerance and our love of the flavor that brings America the way it is truly what makes us the greatest nation on the earth. And that is something I never want to give up. Moving on, I want to move on to the United Nations. We're going to get to something else, hopefully, if there's enough time. But the United Nations feels like they need a new building, and they're probably right. So what do you say we go over into the middle of, I don't know, Russia somewhere, and we'll build the building for them there, pick them all up, and move them there. But that's not what they want. They want the taxpayer to foot the bill again for everything that they do here, because this is the greatest nation on earth, which is why they want to live here. They can dictate doctrine here and not suffer the repercussions, because people like Turkmenistan, the Muslim population there, wouldn't stand for it one bit. Fact of the matter is they are our fair weather international friends, and for all I know, the policies that we're carrying out now are the policies of the United Nations and how they'd like to see things go down, because it's easier to control the people when you've beaten them and then finally broken them. Then you can give them a new rule of law that they'll love. Because let's face it, right after World War II, if we had marched across Europe with the Emancipation Proclamation, granted them all their freedoms, we probably could have adopted them as states, new states of the Union. So since everyone seems to be against the Mexicans coming here and picking our crops and working for a little less, let's face it, nobody in this country wants to work anymore. I'm not for or against it. I'm definitely not for amnesty, because if you are an illegal alien and you do live here and you are accepting wages and you are paying Social Security and purchasing items here, more power to you. Just get registered. Just get registered, and you can go through the due process like everybody else. I didn't have to go through it because my family were part of the founders of this nation. So I guess I was lucky. And maybe all American-born citizens who, when they graduate, should at least be required to take the test that these people are forced to take, so that at least they know the terms of the Constitution and the air of it, and really know what it is. And I'm sure somebody's going to be outraged. It doesn't mean you won't be a citizen. It just means you have to take the test to show your true common knowledge. More important than an SAT is the Constitution of the United States of America. The United Nations has sort of become like a flea or a tick in New York City that just keeps sucking the marrow out of this country. We provide them all of their limousines, all of their service, all of their protection, and quite frankly, we're not very fair to them, because after all they want is a one world order, which they rule, and that they will become our senators, they will become our Congress, they will become everything that we don't want here. And I don't want a governing body of China and Japan and Korea to become my senators and my congressmen. Really not interested in that at all. I can't tell you how many different levels that affects me. I'm tired of our fair weather friends. Hello, Russia. When you decided that you were going to tear down the wall, we gave you billions of dollars to help rebuild your nation. You took that money and you built that wonderful missile that now we can't detect. You say, oh no, one's not related to the other, but yes, it is, because when you needed a fair weather, or when you needed a friend, we, against our own better judgment, helped you. I didn't create this policy. It's none of my business. When Mr. Reagan told you, when President Reagan, and I believe he was voted in, was begging you to tear down that wall and reunify Germany, and the first thing Germany did was build an army. Imagine that. We bailed you out. We gave you lots and lots and lots of money, but of course we knew there was a long term. There's oil under your tundra, and America wants a slice of it. And there's the diamond industry, which segues to De Beers, and De Beers is helping you to mine it so that you can keep it regulated. In my opinion, I think you should take as many diamonds as you can drag up out of the ground, flood the market. Let's see some great big stones out there. I'd love to have in my hand a gigantic rock as big as my head, if for no other reason than to just look at it and watch the De Beers family become crushed under the weight of it, because they'll no longer be able to afford their African markets, which they actually kill people over for, and that's that whole blood diamond industry. And I guess there was a movie made for it, and yet I digress. The other thing I want to get onto is Morgellons or Morgellons disease. I want to know where this came from. All these people that were diagnosed with it, they told them they had a psychological problem, but when somebody stopped and looked underneath a microscope, it looked like a hair. It actually burrows into the skin. It sits in the skin and eats your skin. And there are lots of people on the eastern seaboard becoming afflicted with this. They were told to go see a psychiatrist until one doctor finally took them seriously. And I don't mean to disrespect your name. It's either Morgellon or Morgellon. Great work, great discovery. We need to find the cure for it. It's a worm after all. Let's just treat it like a worm. It's a microscopic worm, and they build their own nests. They use the carcasses of their dead. They lay eggs just like other critters. And someone's tried to tell me now that it directly relates itself to chemtrails. If it does, then we need to find out what's going on with that. Because if North Korea was doing this to South Korea, and that's where all of this began, and now we're doing it here, because it's been turning up in the United States, and there are little inchworms crawling across your floor and to your neighbor, or you're in a public restaurant, you leave a few behind on the table, the next guy comes in, sits down, puts his arms on the table, and one of them creeps up onto his arm or her arm or your child's arm. If it was the president's daughter, there'd be a cure tomorrow. If it was another world leader's daughter, there'd be a cure the next day. I can guarantee it. So, motivating people to try to get some of this stuff done seems to be the real problem. Motivating me to get out of bed in the morning some days seems to be the problem, but that's not as life-threatening, maybe for me. But I love this country, America. And again, I want to take this moment, and I know it's going to become a repetitive message. We need to create a no-vote initiative, and we need all the celebrity powers that be to come about. And I'll tell you what, we need more than that. Since we're going to be asking all these people to come forward, to speak up, and to say what's really on their mind, we need money to, and not for me, and not for any group that I'm going to specify, but we need to create one single base of protection, so that when we're finally ready to let these patriots in, who are willing to speak out about their un-American activities, and to grant them amnesties so that they can, because we will. Any American who has knowledge about any of this, who will need amnesty or seeks amnesty, will certainly be glad to give it to you, and you'll certainly be labeled an American patriot, and an icon of you will always be remembered. Astronauts who've flown in space who've been sworn to secrecy, you've seen things out in space. We'd like to know. So if there's a power that be out there, or money that be, that would be willing just to create a non-profit, because I don't have one. I know a few people that do, but I don't think they're going to be able to help us, because no one wants to get involved with anything anymore. But we're also going to need guards to protect them with. We're going to need serious armor, high fences, and a way of defending them. All of that having been said, America, we need to do something, and that is vote no confidence. And yeah, it's a repetitive message, and like I said, I'm going to try to repeat it in every one. Do not raise weapons against your government. It's not a good idea, because they are allowed to defend themselves just like any other American, and I can't say as I'd blame them. So a peaceful, non-aggressive tactic is what's required here. So let's get out there and do it, America. I know we can. Thank you. Oh, I have another 30 seconds. Duh. Okay, well, then I'm going to take one more minute for watchdog groups, or another second for watchdog groups. We need some watchdog groups to set up around these debold companies. We don't care about your copyrighted encoding. We're going to get to the heart of this, and we're going to find out what's going on. And when we do, like I said, there will be a tribunal, and we'll catch you. Oh yeah. So if you work for one of these companies and you know something, just sit tight. We'll get to you. I promise. And lastly, hi kids. I know you're watching these. I love you. And